morning, everyone. My name is Sean Moore. I'm the leader of ACSI in Southern Africa, and I've got the huge privilege to have Dr. Mark Manley with me. Mark is a great friend. Mark is someone who works in significant circles around the world, actually, specifically in South Africa. He's a leadership specialist. He's a strategy specialist. Mark is an author, and he spends most of his time working with significant leaders, encouraging them, supporting them, coaching them, and many of the leaders, in fact, that are part of our national government at the moment. So it's a real privilege for us to have Mark with us. And Mark's going to talk around just a broad theme of new times, new strategy. And he's going to have some thoughts that will hopefully encourage us as leaders. Welcome again, Mark. Lovely to have you with me today.
Good morning, Sean, and it's great to be with significant leaders again. There we go. The guys that are generating the great future that we're going to have through the kids that we influence. But when it comes to a changed environment, it would be the fool that keeps with an old strategy when the game has changed. We see this on sports fields where a team is incapable of changing their strategy at halftime, even though they are losing. And they end up losing even worse because they're just playing their old game. So when a game changer like this happens within our society and within our schools, like the virus and the lockdown and all the consequences of that, if we don't change our strategies, we are just being stupid, foolish. However, there are certain consistencies that will be able to take us through this. So yes, the objectives change and the targets change because we've got to change the world. So where some of the key indicators of what we think is success by measurables, they might have to change because the economy is taking strain, mobility is taking strain, people are moving, people are changing. And so we've got to adjust those kinds of understandings and measurements, or metrics as we call them. And what are the things then that keep us consistent, particularly in a framework of a Christian environment and a Christian school? So it is the character of the institution or the character of the individual that will take us through. So what is that character? Character is based in our understanding of truth. And so when Jesus talked about being the way, the truth, and the life, we talk more about being the way, and we understand this is the Christian way and so on. What does it mean to talk about the truth? Because truth gives an indication to our understanding of this is the stuff that really counts in this life and in this world and in this universe. So we choose what to believe as truth. And when we have made those choices, particularly in a Christian context, we say, this is true, this is not true. We've got to be very discerning in understanding what is true and not, because that then starts influencing the way we understand ourselves. And so when Paul talks about with a sober mind and with some kind of reason, you assess yourself and you say, this is me, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. And as a result of that, you end up being more effective. But, let's keep that for another little talk. But once we've established that truth about ourselves, without underestimating ourselves, without overestimating ourselves, so we don't become some crazy narcissist, then we apply that into the way we run our lives. And our lives are then based on not only what we think about ourselves, but what we think is the truth about other people. What do you believe is the truth about your staff? What do you believe is the truth about the pupils in your school? Or the department officials that are giving you a hard time or a good time? Or what are you thinking about the government officials that are doing the lockdown or whatever it is? What do you think about other people? Are some people inferior because they come from a different language group, look different to you, or whatever it is? And that is the basis often for some of the greatest evils that have come down to us through world history, where people have had a diminished worth of others. And so we've got to adjust ourselves towards that. And the Bible talks about that in terms of justice and fairly treating other people consistently from the beginning. So it's a truth about ourselves, truth about others, and then truth about the systems in which we operate. Is this a good system, a bad system? What works, what doesn't work? That then gives rise to our value system. Our values are essentially our rules for success. what are the values that we have within the school? And that, when we put in those kinds of rules, because we all want to be successful, we want the school to be successful in what areas? In every area. We want the buildings to work, we want the kids to work, we want the amazing pass rates, we want the sport to work, we want the academics to work, we want the start, everything's got to work, right down to the tap in the toilets, you know. So that's system stuff, and that's the value system that you put into your institution. That then gives rise to what we call the corporate culture. So every collection of people has a culture, because culture is essentially a collective expression of a common experience that has been successful. That's essentially culture. And so when people have done something and it worked, and then they tried it again, oh, and it worked again, and then they tried it again, oh my gosh, and it worked, and then it becomes a tradition. You know, there's the old saying, once an incident, twice coincidence, 3 times a tradition, and then it becomes part of your culture. So now in the hard times, this is the challenge to us. Those value systems, do they work? Do they work not only when it's the nice time and everybody's flooding through your gates and everybody's passing and all the teachers are loving each other, loving the kids and so on, but when we're in the hard times now and the whole game has changed and it seems like the buildings are useless because there's nobody in them and the internet is not working and we want to smash our laptop because it doesn't have, you know, the right kind of speed. So what is the value system that you have? Because it's based in your truth of your system. So that culture, is it working or is it not working? Because the culture is the thing that is consistent in our strategy that takes us through into the future, be it good times, bad times, mediocre times, different times. What is your culture? And remember, the culture is based on your rules for success. So you still want to understand what does success look like. Now that might change in terms of the metrics and the measurables. But if your devotion is still towards the kids and preparing them for a life that is going to be amazing and change the world and alter the course of history, if that is your belief system and if that is your desire, then surely it's got to filter back into your value system that says, to do those things, these kids need to be developing a culture of love. They need to be developing a culture of astute discernment as to what is truth and not truth, and take it there further. So no matter what kind of curveball comes to us through society or through viruses or through technology or whatever it's going to, whatever the changing world is going to be, if we are not on this path of continuous improvement, but with a bedrock of base culture that is going to lead us towards success in the future, that is founded on truth about self, truth about others, truth about our systems, then we are going to fail. We are going to, as it says in Timothy, we're going to be moved around by any doctrine and any tickling of the ears. I mean, and social media is full of tickling of the ears at the moment, isn't it? And people are getting caught up in it. How tragic is that? So stick with the culture, stick with the stuff that is true, that is actually going to lead to a great, successful future, despite the curveballs that come at us.
Thank you, Mark. That's a wonderful perspective, and I think I'm sure that many of our leaders are enjoying the hard work of establishing that culture over all the years. So we pray again that they would continue to be a light on a hill as they face these challenges every day. Bless you, Mark. Thank you very much. Nice to see you again.